Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. For those of you that are new, this is Freight Master Resources, where we provide tips, tools, resources, information about being a freight broker or freight agent. We also provide news and information for you carriers, owner-operators, truckers as well. Okay? So today's video comes from a comment from yesterday's video, who asked me to do a video on what information do you send over to your prospect, right? You've made your sales call, or you've done your cold email, and that, maybe you've had a couple of follow-ups. They finally said yes, right? And so now what? Like, what should your shipper packet include? Okay, and we're gonna go over that for you today. There's some key things that you should have, right? If you really want to impress that new customer, this is what I would include. Some of it's going to be a necessity. Otherwise, they will email you back and say, hey, oh, I forgot to turn my phone off. Bear with me. Or they will say, hey, I need this or I need that. Or they might just not respond at all. They'd be like, yeah, this, you're not really, it's basically your second impression when you send this over, right? So I guess without any further ado, let's jump into it. So when setting up a new shipper relationship, a freight broker will typically send a few key pieces of paperwork to that new customer, okay? These documents establish the terms of the agreement and gather necessary information for future transaction, right? So, the available loads they're going to send over to you. And here are the most common setup documents that you're going to need to have, okay? Number one is going to be your shipper broker agreement. These aren't really in order, and I apologize. The Freight Master was up very, very late last night, and I am dragging a little bit today. So I got my coffee, trying to get caffeined up here. I actually had a customer reach out to me. I don't know, it was like 20 after 12 last night, and they had an emergency load and everything for today. And so Freight Master does what the Freight Master does, right? I get up and I take care of it. So, anywho, the freight broker or the shipper broker agreement, basically this contract outlines the terms of your working relationship, right, between yourself and the shipper. It should detail things like service fees, payment terms, right, for your services, the responsibilities of each party, right, broker versus shipper, regarding communication, documentation, claims, things like that, limitations of liability for both sides, right, and dispute resolution procedures. Okay, those are some of the most common things that should be in there. You're also going to want to have a credit application, right? This is also a biggie because you're going to want to establish credit, right? Because if you're working with a factoring company like Operfi, who again, rock stars, shout out to Tom and Danny and everybody over there. You're going to want to establish some sort of line of credit for those customers. For that customer, you're going to want to make sure that of what their days to pay are, right? And they more or less, once you turn that into them, right? When you turn that into Operfi, they're going to handle that for you. They're going to go, well, they said 30-day terms, but from what we're seeing a lot of late pays. Maybe it's they're 45, 60 days, 70 days out, and these are all things that you need to consider. Okay. And is this an account that might have $100,000 line of credit or a $5,000 line of credit, right? Or no credit at all, So Again, if you don't have a way of establishing credit, and you don't have a factoring company, again, we recommend Operfi. Those guys are awesome over there. So definitely check that out. There's a link down in the description. It's a contact form. You can reach out to them through that. Okay. So yeah, you want to assess their credit worthiness and establish their payment terms. Another thing you're going to want to do is have a company profile, right? This is what I like to refer to as like your bragging sheet. Okay. Because there's nothing wrong with bragging a little bit, right? And basically this part of it, of your packet. And I would also, before I go any further, I would like to mention that I prefer to have, for my own self, prefer to have everything in one document versus sending them each individual document, and they've got all these different basically files that they have to open, right? All these different PDFs that they're going to have to open. Keep it all in one if you can, with the exception of maybe the credit sheet. That one can be separate, okay? But everything else can be in one on one page. So yeah, basically your brag sheet or your company profile is going to highlight, maybe things like your experience, your capabilities, any certifications that you hold, right? Beyond, the norm, maybe you're TIA certified, things like that. Okay. I'm not going to go into a lot of that because there's a lot of different little kinds of certifications that you can get. A lot of those, you have to pay for and go through. You should also have a cover sheet. Okay. This is going to basically be, it's going to more or less outline your, maybe your DUNS number, your MC number, your DOT number, your SCAT code at the top with your company logo, things like that. Contact information, your banking information, maybe some trade references, things like that. Your billing address, right? And your remittance address as well. So, that's some things. It doesn't have to be that complete, but there should be some sort of a cover sheet involved, right? The next thing is you're going to want to have your NMFTA sheet on there, or your SCAT code certificate. Okay. Your W-9. Okay. They're absolutely going to want to have that. You should also have your letter of authority. Okay. Obviously kind of important, okay, that you include that, as well as your COI, right? And if it wasn't brought up during your sales call, you may want to ask them in that email when you send everything over if they need to be listed as a certificate holder, okay? Because sometimes shippers will ask for that. Again, I thank you for the comment yesterday. I hope that I answered your question, right? Because it was more or less, what information do you send over to them? I'm assuming you meant the shipper packet, everything that should include. Again, if you like these videos, if you have something that you'd like me to discuss in future videos, hey, leave a comment, right? I'll do my best to take care of it for you. I did have an idea for a different video today, but this seemed like such a really good follow-up to yesterday's video, that I was like, you know what? Let's put the other one on the side burner till tomorrow or Monday or something, for the following day or Monday, and then let's do this. It just really seemed like a really great follow-up video to do. Again, guys, we've got links for everything down below for my recommendations for tools and resources, right? I highly recommend everything there. There's discount codes and things for you there. And I apologize for not being all amped up like I normally am. Okay. Just like I said, I had a very, very, very late night. I'm running on minimal sleep right now, but once my caffeine kicks in a little more, I'll I'll perk right up. But I appreciate everybody. I love you all for like, share, and subscribing. Right. Again, for those of you that, if you want to reach out to me, if you got something you'd like to share, if you have questions, you know, anything, you just want to shoot me an email and say, hey, that's fine too. I keep that email monitored pretty regularly throughout the day. And I always do try to respond in a very timely manner. So, yeah, I guess we'll call that it for today's video. And as always, be kind to one another. Okay, bye-bye now.